Okay guys, now today what we'll be doing is that we'll be looking at the two reviews by two different people on the phone that is making global waves. A whole lot of people are talking about it, and everybody is in love with this phone, and it's no other phone than Tecno Phantom S2 Pro. Now I've taken my time to watch different reviews on these phones, and I've decided to bring these two different reviews by Fisayo and Car, so that you look at them, look at their different reviews, and make your own conclusion of the features of this phone. Okay, this phone is crazy. All right, let's go watch.
Hey guys, it's Carl. So super dope one that just kind of dropped into the studio. It's actually a smartphone that I haven't heard or seen of before. This is the Tecno Phantom X2 Pro 5G, and technically Phantom is a sub-brand of Tecno. And by the time this video is live, by the time you guys are watching this, I'm actually going to Dubai for this phone's launch. So I haven't been to Dubai, haven't checked out the smartphone. A ton of first new things for me. So we'll take a look at this. I'll give you my initial impressions. Of course, my full review will be when I test this out in Dubai. I get to escape some pretty cold and rainy weather. So if we quickly take a look at underneath this, I can actually see a hint of maybe why this phone was sent out my way. You can obviously see the phone up top, but the back, holy shit. So we have an orange phone. Obviously, you know that I am a fan of all things orange. This will make its way onto the orange wall one day. But check this out. Oh my goodness, this is dope. And the official colorway of this phone is called Mars Orange, and this one is a bit more unique as it has this really nice texture to it. So it's a new renewable / sustainable and eco-friendly material. It's a unique microfiber back cover design. A lot of companies are shifting to that eco-friendly way, and I like that, of course, Phantom is incorporating that. And it's actually the world's first renewable fiber back cover, and it requires a multi-stage process to create, so there's quite a bit of tech behind it, and it also lowers emissions by around 38%. And when we look around, we have some orange aluminum that wraps around. Probably one of the best looking phones of the year. Obviously, once again, biased because of the colorway, but damn, it does look sexy. It does feel nice in the hand, and obviously it's super great, super dope that this is made out of recycled plastic. So just great to see. You can also see this huge camera module on the back, and just kind of reading over the spec sheet I saw, we have a 50 megapixel portrait. It's actually the first portrait lens that is retractable in a smartphone. So we'll kind of see once we turn that on, a 50 megapixel main, 13 megapixel ultra wide, as well as a 30 megapixel.
The camera is it for me. The camera of this phone is mad. This is it. Tecno nailed it here.
Front-facing cams. The big thing though that I kind of want to chat about is this thing on the back, which if you kind of take a look at most smartphone cameras, they don't occupy this much space on the back, and it almost looks like it's maybe what, a quarter or a third of the back panel. So I kind of want to launch the camera app, and what I'm looking for here is that portrait lens that actually starts to move out optically, and the camera module actually juts out ever so slightly. And this is actually the world's first smartphone with a retractable portrait lens, and that should give you real optical bokeh. So when you look at other smartphones, I'll pull out my 14 Pro Max or even the Google Pixel, all of that bokeh is based or created computationally. It's created in software. But with the Phantom X2 Pro, all portrait photography effects are brought together by these two lenses. And I know that I'm testing out this camera when I'm out in Dubai, but Nick, I'm gonna ask you to grab just a quick little portrait shot. We gotta test this out. And from what I can tell, those look pretty clean. I'll have them up on screen right now for you guys to be the judge, but I'm also heading to a Mercedes event actually right after this video, so I'll just kind of test this out more. And as I said, the full in-depth camera review will come when I'm out in Dubai. But yeah, kind of stoked to test this out. Obviously, the main lens, that main portrait lens, that's wrapped around in this little orange piece right here, so you kind of know which one it is. We also have that main 50 megapixel as well, and the 13 megapixel ultra wide, like I mentioned. Just a huge camera module, and just make sure to actually rock the case on this, because the actual module does jut out. The first thing that will hit a table or hard surface will be that camera. So just kind of keep your device protected. So if we actually flip this around, you can see we have a pretty large display. And as the phone boots up inside of the box, just to kind of see the rest of the accessories, we've got a 45-watt fast charger, as well as a USB-A to USB-C charging cable, some nice little orange accents, and a pair of headphones. I haven't seen a pair of headphones inside a smartphone in a long time, so just kind of great to see we get some extra accessories. And we also have some user manuals, warranty info. We've got 12 months, so a year, a nice little case. So that's kind of dope. That will kind of protect your phone, and a SIM card slot tool. So decent unboxing. It's kind of refreshing to see that coming from the good old iPhones, which have nothing inside of their boxes. So you actually get some bang for your buck in this. So now that we've got everything booted up, you can see it's got a decent 6.8-inch display. It's full HD plus 120 Hertz, not an LTPO display, so only switches between 120 and 60 depending on what you're doing. It is rocking iOS 12, and it isn't as clunky as a lot of other Android skins over top. There's just minimal bloatware. I would like to see this obviously toned down a bit more. That's obviously personal preference, but once we start to customize our phone, we can get rid of things on the home screen. Nothing too crazy, no unwanted ads. And overall, the performance of this, it's rocking the Dimensity 9000 chip, which is the current flagship SoC from MediaTek, but it does have 12 gigs of RAM on the inside and 256 gigs of storage. The first thing that I always do to kind of test out performance is download maybe the most popular game right now, which is Genshin Impact, and it runs it without any issues. I'm getting pretty stutter-free performance and optimal frames throughout the game, and any hit game that you download right now on the Play Store will run smoothly and without dropping any frames. Even multitasking, everything is once again pretty smooth, and I haven't encountered too many glitches or crashes. And with that case in mind, just remember on the front, the glass is slightly curved. It isn't anything too crazy. I know that's either a love or hate relationship, but what I kind of like about iOS, some of the cool features, when you actually swipe on over, it has this little side launcher where you can access some of your favorite apps, but also do things like lock your phone, take screenshots, or even do screen recordings. It's just how iOS kind of works, and it also has all these updated widgets with, of course, new wallpapers. Like I said, maybe stock Android or closer to stock is my preferred route, but it isn't too hectic like a lot of other skins that we see over top of Android. So overall, the performance of this has been pretty promising, 5160 milliamp hour battery. And when you look at the specs of this phone compared to a lot of other Android flagships, I think that Phantom is starting off on such a good route. You've got other smart business features like translator, file secretary, and a 24-hour assistant. And yeah, I just can't wait to test this out more in Dubai. And of course, test out this camera a lot more, because those initial shots have been pretty impressive. Let me know your thoughts on the Phantom X2 Pro 5G. If you have any recommendations for when I'm in Dubai, just let me know, as I'm super stoked to check out the city. And this colorway, oh, this is making it up on the orange wall. Hope you guys enjoyed this vid, and this is probably a smartphone that you haven't heard of before, but now you have. And I'll try to get Phantom to hook up an extra device for one of you guys. Maybe I can grab one at the launch as a giveaway, so just make sure you're subbed. Leave that comment down below, and I will catch the rest of you in one of my next vids. Peace!
You guys criticized me when I said it was the world's first retractable lens, but this camera is actually the We've been testing out the Tecno Phantom X2 Pro 5G for a couple of days now, and I have to say that this is a very bright start to the year for smartphones. From the design down to some of the specs, there's also something to be said about the overall performance of the X2 Pro. It has a lot of interesting stuff to offer, and of course a few caveats here and there, and we'll be exploring all of this and more in the video. So without further ado, let's get to the video. There are a lot of great things about this device, but its design is one that I could not possibly ignore, and I don't think anyone can either. The color and features of this Mars orange device that we've got here is a solid 10 in my opinion. If you like a device that makes a bold statement right out of the box, this is the one for you. The phone flaunts a large island on the back that carries 3 cameras and an LED flash. It also has a colored ring around one of the cameras, telling you that there's something special about this one camera. We'll get to this detail in a bit on the camera setup, but be sure to stick around for our real world tests. Another feature I find fascinating is the absorbing texture pattern on the back of this phone. It has a feel that's quite satisfying to hold in the hand, despite being a pretty big device. It just sits perfectly in your hand. On the front is a massive curved screen that adds its own touch to the design. The phone has 2 amazing colors, Mars Orange, which is made of recycled plastics from the ocean, and the other color, Stardust Gray, which is obviously not made of stardust. What is stardust? Yet another one of my favorite things about the Phantom X2 Pro is the customized case that comes in the box as well. Rather than just a clear case or absolutely nothing, Tecno offers a case with a similar texture to the back of the phone, which means you don't miss out on that premium feel. The phone case also flaunts an adjustable ring that embraces the camera island. This acts as a phone holder that allows you to set your phone in many different positions. You can watch movies like this in landscape, make video calls, scroll social media or websites, all hands-free. You can even set it upside down, but there's no use case for that. We also got a lot of comments when we posted the unboxing short videos online that the color of the phone case should have been Mars Orange as well to complement the Mars Orange color, but it's black and it's hiding the Mars Orange color. But what do you guys think though? Overall, the design of the Tecno Phantom X2 Pro is indeed one of a kind. The display of the Tecno Phantom X2 Pro is pretty straightforward on paper. It has a 6.8-inch double curved 120Hz AMOLED display that also has a resolution of 1080 by 2400 pixels. This display is almost continuous from top to bottom, with the only blemish being the centered punch hole cutouts on the selfie camera right here. Being a curved display and almost bezel-less at the top and bottom, you're getting an immersive viewing experience while playing games or watching videos. Tecno says that its 10-bit panel can cover 100% of the DCI-P3 color gamut, and it's evident in just how sharp and colorful this display is. Going about the user interface and playing colorful games and videos are a delight with this display. The best part is that you can also have some confidence in the display since it's a Corning Gorilla Glass Victus one. Alright, let's talk about performance. On paper, the performance is one of the very strong suits of this device. The chipset is a 4nm flagship MediaTek Dimensity 9000 processor. It pairs with 12 gigs of RAM and 256 gigs of storage, running on Google's Android 12 and Tecno's iOS 12. Do note that the Phantom X2 Pro will get 2 years of Android update, Android 13 and 14, and 3 years of security update. What do you guys think about that? Testing out the performance with everyday use, multiple apps running in the background, playing games, streaming high quality content, and so on, we did not notice any drop in performance. Now combine this performance with the display and you've got one that is very good for gamers. One might also feel the device start to warm up after some minutes of gaming. Playing Call of Duty for a little over 30 minutes, we could feel it get significantly warmer at the top and the bottom of this device. Thankfully, it did not have any effect whatsoever on the smooth running of the game. Now, playing Call of Duty at the highest frame rate and graphics quality is available for this device. The Phantom X2 Pro will run like hot knife through butter. All things considered, I did not have any complaints about the performance that I got on the Tecno Phantom X2 Pro. The device responds very quickly to touch and it's smooth to use. It offers a performance worthy of being called a flagship device. Even the fingerprint scanner, despite being under this display, it's absolutely well executed and it's quick to respond. I also did notice some improvements in the face unlock tech. It's gotten a lot faster and it's even better with low light. Once again, these all get top marks from me. So at the time of making this video, because we got this device before the release date on the 20th of January, we can't talk about the price just yet, but make sure to check the pinned comment for the updated price. If you're watching this after the 20th, just check the pinned comment. Now, the Phantom X2 Pro packs a whopping 5160 mAh battery, and even before doing a real-life battery test, I already expected great things from the battery in this device. This is really as big as you can get with a battery on a smartphone, and what I find pretty impressive is that it doesn't even weigh so much for a device with a big battery. In our test, the battery held up as expected. We put it under extensive use and the battery life was able to last the entire day on a full charge. From observations, this is not one of those devices that you put down and be losing battery on standby time. With long hours of standby time connected to Wi-Fi, there was no battery loss. It's worth pointing out though that a battery will last relative to your usage, and the same applies here. Now, playing Call of Duty and scrolling TikTok for about an hour continuously, the X2 Pro lost around 15% of the battery life, which is fair. Now, when it comes to charging though, the X2 Pro is a device that snaps us back to reality with the charging speed. With the 45-watt charger that comes in the box right here, it took us about an hour to go from 0 to 100%. After the first 10 minutes of charging, the device went from 0 to 21%. It took around 35 minutes to get to 50%. And considering the battery performance of this device, if you get a quick 10 to 20 minutes of charging, then it should be able to hold up nicely till the next charge. As we mentioned earlier, there are 3 cameras on the Tecno Phantom X2 Pro. The primary camera is a 50 megapixel wide lens, while the smallest camera is a 13 megapixel ultra wide lens with support for macro vision, which is just a fancy way of saying that it can take really up close shots or a macro shot. The highlight and the most intriguing feature of this phone is the aforementioned special camera with the orange ring around it. This is a 50 megapixel portrait camera with support for 2.5x zoom, and it has a retractable lens. You guys criticized me when I said it was the world's first retractable lens, but this camera is actually the world's first retractable portrait lens. Some use of words right there. Tecno. So this camera is the world's first retracting portrait lens, and it's said to be comparable to a professional camera on a smartphone. First off, Tecno deserves some accolades for what they've done with this setup, but is this enough? Well, this is where this device gets really interesting, and I promise it does. The selfie camera is a 32 megapixel sensor and is capable of capturing 1080p videos at 30 and 60 frames per second. For the front camera, you've also got a front-facing flash which is quite bright. The selfie quality of the Tecno Phantom X2 Pro looks good with decent sharpness, and the same goes for the portrait mode. It's got correct edge detection and background blur. Just make sure you set it correctly before you take a picture. I noticed that the photos I took with the main lens had a warmer look and feel to it. However, this is unlike the ultra-wide lens, which you can use to take macro shots. Having the option of taking a macro shot with a 13 megapixel ultra-wide lens has its benefits, since you can go very close to the object. One thing I noticed though was that the ultra-wide lens, while it captures a wide range in terms of spectrum, is not as sharp as the main lens as expected. You can even zoom up to 10 times and as far as 20 times and still pick out details in the shot. We get smartphones with good cameras to inevitably take pictures of people at some point. That warmness still translates to the shot you're getting on here, even at 2.5 times portrait. If you're taking a portrait shot, I would always recommend a 2.5 times zoom. Like almost every big megapixel camera smartphone out there, you can't shoot with the full 50 megapixel camera on here, so you can toggle it on in the camera options. I noticed that the 50 megapixel shots are a little over 3 times more than the regular image in file size. The main benefits are slightly sharper images, but the drawback is that it will fill up your storage quicker. Now, when it comes to video, the rear camera can shoot in 1080p and up to 4K 60 frames per second. As a bonus, you get decent stabilization with ultra steady, but it is limited to 1080p. This is what a video looks like without stabilization, and this is what a video looks like with stabilization or ultra steady turned on. The videos I got with this camera, especially the 4K videos, looked decent, but I'd have loved to see it handle exposure better. This is the front-facing camera video quality from the Tecno Phantom X2 Pro. Let me know what you guys think about this video quality you're seeing in the comment section down below. The front-facing camera also has stabilization, but you might lose some quality in the process. Taking shots with this phone at night, we noticed some retained sharpness and some noise in the images. The portrait version seemed to have decent background blur with all the same caveats. I also found the video quality to actually be okay when we shot these at night as well. Overall, this phone looks like a great package with a solid design. When I first saw this design in pictures, I was curious as to what was going on with the camera module, but it's one of those things where you have to see it in person to know if you would like it.
Okay guys, I hope you've seen the different reviews by Carl and Fisayo. You've gotten a better knowledge of the features of Tecno Phantom S2 Pro. Thanks for watching. If this video was helpful, like, subscribe and share for more videos like this. I'm ICJ and this is Amiable Media. Catch you in the next one.